I was wondering, I wanted you to explain a little bit about the uniforms. Was the idea that they didn't want you to go off base in your grubbies with oil on them? You were only allowed off base in a uniform if it was the trim, good-looking thing? Is that what happened?
Basically, yes. And I can't remember whether the Navy had the same rule as the Marine Corps did. But in the Marine Corps, when you left that base, you were either in civilian attire or a Class A uniform, never fatigues. And basically you weren't doing anything but going from that gate to your home, but that was the rule in those days. Today, I see military in not oily fatigues, but I see them out and about in fatigue type uniforms. But because we were in a Marine Air Wing, the fatigues that we were wearing to work on aircraft were not necessarily as great looking as fatigues that they wear off base now. So it was a little bit different kind of a perspective. You don't see people even today wearing oil stained fatigues out in the civilian community. When they're wearing fatigues, they're starched and looking good. We started the day that way. We certainly never finished a day that way.
Okay.
But there is a pride with every Marine in his uniform. In my American Legion uniform today, I use the same military perspective when I put on the American Legion uniform and lead a parade through Glenview as if it was my Marine Corps uniform. I would not know how to carry myself in a uniform other than the same way you carry yourself in a Marine uniform. And an American Legion uniform is a military looking uniform. So you wear it with the same pride that you would wear your uniform on active duty. And I try to keep myself, to be honest with you, on a lighter note, I try to keep myself in good enough physical condition that I can feel that way. My hobby to this day before I go to work every morning is getting up and working out before work. I love to stay active. I love to play tennis and golf with my 43-year-old son. I love to run in the Youth Services 5K run. I just think all of those things that I do to this day is because of my Marine Corps training. The way I carry myself, even in a sport coat and tie. I don't know how to look in civilian clothes any different than I would look in military clothes. The things that they put into you in your training, people say it all the time, but it never leaves you. You know how to look, you know how to act, you know how to be respectful of people. These are all things that you learn in a military discipline, and there's nothing wrong with transferring to civilian life.
At this point, a good number of people who live in Glenview were not born in Glenview, were not born in Illinois, were not born in the United States. Is there something you would like to say to them about coming into Glenview and, well, let me just put it that way. Would you have anything in particular to say to those people who haven't grown up here?
Well, first of all, I really don't ever want to put myself in a position of telling other people how to live or how to react. But if they came to this country and to this area of Glenview and they want to know what the history of it is, I would certainly advise them to go to the Glen, to visit the chapel, to see the statues in the town center and the ones across the street in Gallery Park, to read the messages there, to go to Glenview Road at the River Drive and see the Veterans Memorial where the flag flies, to read the names on it, the names of all veterans of Glenview who died in the service of our country are on that memorial, at least the ones that we've always known about. Recently it's come to our attention that we may have missed those, a couple here and there, but you know, if we didn't know about it, we can't make it up. So the Veterans Memorial was put there by the American Legion. We paid for it. We have those names engraved in stone. A year after that was there, we put up the flagstaff where the flags fly now, where we celebrate Memorial Day and Veterans Day. I would encourage anybody to go to the Glenview Road at the river and stand there and read those names. Our American Legion post, Sesterhain, was named after the first Glenview resident killed in World War I, and that's Joseph Sesterhain, and our post is the Joseph Sesterhain Post 166. I also would encourage them to go up Lehigh Avenue, just outside of the Glen, to the Hangar 1 Museum. It's open on Saturdays and Sundays only, or by special request because we have volunteer docents there. And the history of NAS Glenview is preserved there extremely well. Even models of the ships where people like the first President Bush trained carrier landings in Lake Michigan. All of that history is at the Hangar 1 Museum. I would encourage anybody that lives in Glenview that hasn't been there to go there and see it, and take your children. The Historical Society in Glenview on Waukegan Road and the library is a wonderful place to get more information. If anybody lives in Glenview that has served in the military and would like to become part of the Glenview family, they can contact me at the Glenview Journal, and I will be more than happy to bring them to an American Legion meeting and let them find a circle of friends that they may have lost from some other area. And we would be more than happy to welcome them into the Glenview area and offer them membership in our post. If we do not continue to look for new members, my biggest fear is that someday there will be a 4th of July parade in Glenview, and children will be sitting on the curbs and receiving candy from floats and clowns, and all they'll know about a parade is floats, clowns, automobiles, fire trucks. But if we don't continue to bring in new members into the American Legion, someday there will not be an American Legion color guard at the front of that parade, and then the children will have totally lost all relative value and knowledge of veterans. So some of our guys joined the 4th of July parade after it comes down Glenview Road and turns south on Harlem and heads west on Central. Some of our World War II guys pick up the parade in front of their homes on Central because they can no longer walk all the way from OLPH parking lot to Johns Park. But the fact that these guys feel that it's that important for them to jump out there, it's remarkable. So They're great men.
Thank you. That's good words for us all. Thank you.